Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, you guys. So
We're here.
today, we're here, we're queer. So today, you guys, we are talking about what everyone's gagging about because everyone does not like him is Miss Jeffery Bowyer-Chapman from Canada's Drag Race, honey. People do not feel him. Shane really doesn't feel him. He never felt him from the beginning. And people have actually caught on and agreeing with him. So,
Thanks for Snail.
so as you guys know, he's a host on Drag Race and the format's a little bit different, and they take turns judging between him, what's her name?
Stacy.
Stacy and I almost said Detox. I don't know why. What is her name?
Brooklyn Lynn Hyde. By the
Hyde.
way, Ronald just woke up from a nap. That's why his memory is not there today.
I'm not out of it, but if we have to keep nap, which was rushing me. But anyway, yes. So as you guys know, they're judges. So that when it was his turn to judge and give his critique on Miss Jimbo on last week's episode 4 and his garment that he made in the unconventional challenge, she read him to filth. She read Jimbo to filth. Yeah.
Like a Marie Antoinette kind of powdered face.
Your face is beat, your chest is beat, but your arms and your hands are a different color. You didn't even touch them with your makeup, and that just drives me nuts because it completely takes me out of the illusion and the fantasy immediately.
Very limited amount of time to construct these looks, paint our faces, prepare.
I hear you, girl. Everyone gets the same amount of time. Use it better, maybe.
And then it's offended so many fans that they actually decided to make a petition that already has 326 signatures out of the needed 500, or at least their goal of 500. And Shane, why don't you read the petition, honey?
I signed it already, first and foremost.
Oh, that's the gag. Look at you kicking a person of color down numbers.
Now, I will say this. I do think Jeffrey is cute. His acting credits, I can count on one hand of things that we've collectively seen him in.
Well, we'll get into that.
I think that's kind of the problem, is that
we'll get into that too.
Really feel he's the most qualified judge. He just happened to fit the mold of being Canadian.
Yeah.
So this is what the petition says. It says, removed unqualified, not knowledgeable on drag, rude, pretentious Jeffrey from being a judge on Canada's Drag Race. His criticisms are not constructive in the least, and he is simply not qualified! ! He was on a couple of regular Drag Race episodes, meaning the American Drag Race, and suddenly he's qualified? He has been playing this bougie Miranda Priestley-esque role that RuPaul sometimes plays, that it comes off as way too rude and pretentious. You have to be an icon, or at least a very knowledgeable in the topic to play that role, and he is not at all. His faces, smirks, and comments were a bit over the line. But after this last confrontation with Jimbo, enough is enough, and the people have spoken. I'm sure there are so many more designers, drag queens, or at least people in fashion from Canada that are more deserving and much more knowledgeable. If not, then why not Drag Race alumni? Asia O'Hare, Peppermint, Detox, Roxy, Trinity the Tuck, Shangela, Chad Michaels, Latrice Royale, Alaska, Monet Exchange, Jada Essence Hall, Katya, Manila Zone, Raven, Morgan McMichaels, or literally any past winner. Who cares if they're from Canada or not?
I mean, they have a point about that too. It could have been, because if RuPaul would have came there, he's not Canadian and he has done it for the UK one. So I guess they definitely do have a point there. It doesn't actually need to be a Canada cast, but there is something nice about it being a predominantly Canada cast. But you're right, though. They didn't do that for the UK though. Even the guests, right? Were all the guests from the UK?
Pretty much. I would say I didn't watch it in full. I'm still trying to get through it because it's a little hard to find too. I would say like 80% of the judges were UK based.
Yeah.
Jerry Howell, a lot of those British comedians I'm not entirely familiar with.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess they actually were all pretty much from the UK. So yeah, but Ru wasn't. So yeah, they could have just had one of the other past winners host it.
Yeah, that's my problem with Jeffrey. I think overall, and more like seriousness, is that like, remember when Lady Gaga came on and she's like, I have some notes, and she had that big, gigantic binder. Like, they were all very constructive notes, and you
Well,
all
she's a
saw,
drag queen too, and she
well,
takes
that's
notes
what
on
I'm
drag queens,
saying. I
basically.
don't think
It's
it was
gender drag, basically.
also could kind of compare it to how Stacey was with the runway walk last week. Is that is her lane and something
Yeah.
she really knows, and she's giving her gift to somebody else in the same way, like if Whoopi does comedy or Jane Krakowski does comedy. I don't really understand what Jeffrey Boyer-Chapman is bringing to the table in terms of skill in this
Yeah,
reality
no, for
format.
sure. I think that I think he's trying to be Michelle because he sees that like Michelle is harsh, and I think he wants to take on that kind of position. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna be the Michelle and give you the tough truth. But the difference is well, first of all, let's talk about him. So he's been in a couple things. So he's been in what was it? He had a small role in American Horror Stories, and then he has a TV show, The Unreal. He was in a TV show called The Unreal, and it was like, I guess in that TV show he was kind of like a bigger part. But outside of that, he's ultimately an actor, and he hasn't done things that are relevant to drag.
Right.
So you can't be the Michelle because that is the world's biggest fag hag. She has been like, she traipses around town all the time with fucking Roos, and since she was in her damn 20s. She'd be going to balls and shit. Like, she knows drag culture.
Right.
And so when
And
she's
also, I think, at the end of the day, Michelle necessarily may not always be my cup of tea, or I don't always like what she says, but she has been through a lot, being in all those girl groups, being in all those bands, really struggling to find some semblance of a career.
I mean, for goodness sake, she knows what, like, remember, who was the episode and someone was trying to explain Banji to her, and she was like, I know Banji, and I was just like, yeah, she actually might know it better than Shane, because she lives it. Like, she was around during that time. She was actually going to balls. So
right. And like I said, I can, even if it's a female judge like Christina Aguilera or Miley Cyrus or Lady Gaga, they all have a performance quality. That they all they know how to do quick changes. They know what costuming is about. They know what makeup. They know how to play.
And what I will say is, since he is an actor, he could be useful though for the acting challenges. But when you start coming for the runway and coming for like the drag factor of like doing things and makeup and stuff which you don't know about, that's when it's like, well, is that really your area?
Right. And it's like that episode on Pose where they had the judges walk in heels and they couldn't do it, and they
exactly.
off. It's that kind of thing. It's like, that's why I get upset, and why I was kind of mad last week. I'm like, boo, you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, if Rue had said that, or Gaga had said that, I would have had more, they have a point. But it was the delivery and the combination of lack of experience that I think people
and I watched it back, and I was, because originally I was trying to give him the benefit of doubt, like, oh, well, did Jimbo have a tone? And I looked it back, and I was like, I looked at it again, and I was like, no, he didn't have a tone. He was too sassy with that critique. So I can understand everyone's frustration. And then I watched the newer episode actually too, and he's a little bit better this week, but he still kind of just has a tone. But maybe he's just a sassy, messy queen.
Where was I going with this? It just, Jimbo told the truth, and sometimes people don't like to hear the truth. And I don't like when people react that way when they're just being honest. Because like you said, Jimbo wasn't giving attitude. She's like, look, we got a certain amount of time.
What I will say is that excuse we need to stop using, because every season someone says that, and they essentially normally do get read. It was his delivery.
Well, that's what I'm feeling like. That's why I'm like, I don't know what people are expecting these people to do. It's like, that dress was amazing. I took probably 18 hours to construct, the makeup and the hair, and, it was the arms. It was so minor, and it's like, boo,
But you can, my thing is, I could see the frustration with him saying, getting mad about the time though, because everyone does have the same amount of time though, and they can achieve perfection still. Like Shay was on the show, and she always achieves perfection, so it's like, it's doable. So I feel like you probably should try to steer away from using time as an excuse, because at this point you're going to get read for it.
I
But
mean, Shay is such a professional. She probably had a stopwatch at home and probably did a run through with those looks and been like, okay, I've got 3 hours to get this together.
exactly. But you definitely need. But his delivery was uncalled for.
Hmm.
So I think that's what it
So,
mainly comes down to. And
so
then,
go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say. And then we also have, speaking to like not necessarily being in that world, but Carson and Ross
What else?
aren't from that world, but for Carson, it's like he can speak to it because it's fashion, so it's tied in hand. Like you'd be speaking to the fashion, and if he were to say something like that, it makes sense because it's what he does. And then while Ross doesn't necessarily do fashion, he's a performer, and I don't want to like bring it down to like whatever, but he still just kind of knows more than
Right.
Jeffrey.
Well, I think the difference between them and Jeffrey is even if they have something negative to say, they say it with love. They have the
That
best
too.
interest at heart. Even you could see the care in like what Ross says to Morgan Michaels, who he's probably really close
Yeah,
to,
it's delivery too.
personally. It's
Yeah,
the
they show respect.
delivery, and it was
They're
it
both
was
very
just
respectful. Yeah.
sassy. It was just really,
Yeah.
really sassy and disrespectful, to Jimbo. And it just left a very poor taste in my mouth because I was not that. I wouldn't say I was a Jeffrey Bowyer-Chapman stan, but he definitely lost a fan. Lauren Hill, you
Yeah.
lost one.
And he has hosted some of the like all-stars. I mean, like was a guest judge. So I guess he's feeling himself, but that's still not enough. And it's like Ross and Carson, they're like I feel like they have enough expertise to, though they don't necessarily do drag, they've seen enough and they have enough to really speak on it. Whereas like for him, I still I feel like, and probably people too, they're still kind of viewing him as new to the world. So you shouldn't be like as harsh because you don't know as much. I think that's also what it is too. And don't get me wrong, I think he does. I don't think we could say that he doesn't have an interest in drag, because when I was watching I've watched in the past some of like the World of Wonder Rue tours, like the drag con stuff, and he does go to those, so I guess he does like drag, but it's still just like, I guess it just really just comes down to don't be that harsh.
Mhm. Do you feel like they're scripting him or kind of feeding him a storyline to?
Yeah, I started wondering. I started wondering that too. I was just like, well, he is an actor. I wonder if they are starting to like produce a little bit more heavy this season. Like, let's turn someone into a villain.
Yeah, it's always produced in one way or another. It just
This time it could have been worse. They're just like, let's have the judges try it.
That's why I always really respected Cameron Michaels, because he was like, nope, you're not going to make a narrative out of me. He's
they
like,
still made one out of him because he was.
Oh, why? With the thing with Vanjie? Well, that's recent.
No. Like when at the reunion when they were just like, you guys don't get to see this one of him being mean, and then they kind of like cut to him doing the eye roll. But I mean, that could have been editing too. But I think. But yeah,
that's what I like, that he was focused on the show, what happened on the stage, and he wasn't into all the petty drama. And I think Mayhem always tried to stay out of that, but then that also kind of like, it was a negative for her, because then she really had no storyline, whatsoever. So it just came off as like it did.
I think what it is though is he was probably overcompensating for an area that he's not as strong in. He's an actor at the end of the day, and that's what he does. And he doesn't, though he may appreciate drag, him going to drag con and stuff like that, he may appreciate it, but he still doesn't know the same way. So I feel like he might also feel insecure. So he's manifesting that by being overly judgmental, because everyone else kind of does have a place. Obviously, Brooklyn has a place because she is a drag queen. Right. And then Stacey has a place because, she's runway, and it's very comparable. So
I've been so impressed with Brooklyn. If you really think about it, her drag race was not that long ago. It's not like she's had 10 years, in the limelight, but she is really polished as a host. I really wish it was they should have just put her in the RuPaul role.
Yeah, they should have.
And then they could have brought Jeffrey in and out in the same way that and Stacey in and out the same way they bring out, the three of them, being Ross, Michelle, and Carson. So it's a space to watch. So for sure, you've watched the new episode. I haven't. So we're gonna talk about the next one next.
Yeah, you guys will see the new episode soon. We'll do a review on that.
Yeah, but just wanted to check in with this drama.
Yeah, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, you guys really took it upon yourselves to make when someone makes a petition, honey, it's serious. So
even if he's not off, like, well, the filming is done, for the first season, obviously. Even if this petition didn't happen, there's just something not clicking. I don't think he would have been asked back anyway. So I just don't feel.
Well, I'm thinking for the next season, they might try to do either. If they don't bring Rue, I think they might try to do just one host.
I think they're going to have to bring Rue if they want this thing to work.
Because we're watching it low-key, it's almost better than season 12. Someone said this was better than season 12.
There was nothing really. Actually. Yeah.
But
I think in like an English-speaking country or predominantly English-speaking country, actually I shouldn't say that because Canada speaks half French. So 50% of an English-speaking country, I think they really want to see Rue. Like, I understand for Drag Race Thailand, that would have been so outside of Rue's, box. They would have had to dump him and, all of that. But I think for Canada, they're going to want to see Rue. It's kind of like when Tyra stepped away from America's Next Top Model and brought in Rita Ora for 10 seconds. And everybody was like, ain't nobody want to see Rita Ora. We want to see you, Tyra Banks, who made the show. I think it's the same thing with Rue.
True.
I just don't think that, so for like, if they do a Drag Race Mexico or Drag Race Brazil or something like that, obviously Rue would have minimal involvement, but for an English speaking show,
you're right about that. Yeah, you're right about that. But like I said, he doesn't want to go out there. He's not feeling it.
Right.
But I think,
maybe there really was a true blue conflict. At this time he was probably doing AJ and the Queen and probably some other stuff. Too. So maybe he just had a conflict, and then he's gonna maybe look at it and be like, this isn't really working.
But I'm saying if they do get the signatures, which I'm sure they will. I don't think it will affect this season. I think it would probably be for next season. They just
because this season's done, locked off, edited. So there's nothing that can be done for this season. But like I said, even if this petition wasn't floating around, I just don't see them bringing him back in a full-time capacity.
No, I think they would have brought him back if the petition wasn't around. Actually,
he's going to be the Santino of Canada.
I know, but I think they would have. I think they were probably gearing up to bring him back for the next season.
We need to do a welfare check on Santino. That's what we really need to do, a show about, see what's going on with that one.
That's actually true, but no, we definitely I think the petitions definitely was going to hinder him for next season. But I think they probably, if it had not been for the petition, he probably would have came back next season, because I don't think. I mean, there's the critiques of people not liking the whole 3 people taking turns as Rue thing, but I still think they might have tried to do it again. But now I feel like they're going to be like, is this three judge thing still working? Maybe we should try to streamline it into the normal format, but which they should.
All I can think about now is that joke that Bianca Del Rio made when she was like, I'll show versatility when Santino wins a sewing challenge.
Oh, that was a gag. But so we'll see. But honey, this petition is floating around and more and more.
So let us know your comments. We are very curious to know what people think. So this is a brewing. It's been a quiet week in terms of celebrity drama.
Judges might start getting scared, honey.
Stir the pot.
I know. Well, judges might start getting scared now too. They don't want to get canceled.
Oh, these guest judges between Alicia Cuthbert and Deborah Cox. I'm like, ooh. And then this week, Tom Green. I'm being serious. I didn't know he was living. I didn't know he was alive still. I thought he died a few years ago.
No, you mean next episode?
The next episode, I saw Tom Green's going to be the guest judge.
Oh, from wait, who was that?
Canada. He was married to Drew Barrymore for 5 minutes.
Oh no, that's not who was there.
It's somebody else.
It was a woman, okay. and then apparently there's this. You didn't watch it yet, but you'll see because they do Snatch Game, and the 2 guest judges are these interior designers, and they're kind of like the Jeremiah and Nate equivalent in Canada.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, I got it all wrong. So scratch everything I said. Tom Green is not involved. Might be dead.
Maybe later. Maybe later.
Maybe
he's on a later episode. I don't know. But
exactly.
But no, I was shocked to see, but I was just like, wow, people are really not liking him. And I mean, I could get it though, because I get it because he did have a tone, honey. And he's lucky that he was dealing with Jimbo, because someone like me might have been sassy back, look here, Miss Mascara.
Right. And do you imagine if that was Taomi or one of the more sassy queens?
Right.
That wouldn't have been pretty.
Right. But yes, everyone. But there was a little tea. To give you guys a little tea on this petition, and
let us know what you think in the comments, and y'all subscribe. It's the hottest club on YouTube.
Yes, everyone subscribe and smash that subscribe button, smash it, honey, and like it. Smash the like button as well. But yes, thank you guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.